Thanks for joining us on this USB API tutorial for the Ricoh Theta. We'll take our Ricoh Theta Z1 and plug a USB-C cable into it. We'll plug the other end of the USB-C cable into a Raspberry Pi. We'll also connect the Raspberry Pi to internet. In this case, it has a Ethernet connection. However, you could use Wi-Fi as well. We're going to need to connect the Raspberry Pi to the internet because we're going to push out the images from the Z1 to the Raspberry Pi out to the cloud. We'll use the USB API to send an API command to the Theta to take a picture. Then we'll use the same USB API to transfer the pictures from the Z1 over onto the local storage of the Raspberry Pi. We're going to use a USB cable for the transfer. Then we'll take that image and we'll copy it over onto a cloud-based web server. Most common scenario is to use the Ricoh Theta Z1 for some type of time-lapse photography for surveillance or image analysis. The Z1 can be powered by the same USB-C cable indefinitely that is sending the API commands. In the field, the Raspberry Pi is connected to the other end of the USB-C cable. I have it here on a stand and in a case. The Raspberry Pi will need to be powered either by a battery or, in this example, an electrical cord. We're going to focus on the bash script development using ptpcam. The output of ptpcam-L will give you the file listing. The structure of the output is, it first gives you, it says listing files, then there's a new line that's a header, there's another header here, and the files will be listed. The newest or most recent file will be listed last. So we're going to grab the last image file just based on the sequence that it's coming in at. And we're going to use awk to take the fifth column. So it's column 1 is 38C colon. Column 2 is the size. Column 3, it says captured. And there's actually a space between the 2021-04-14 and then there's a space. So since we're splitting on the space, this next set here, 00:21, will act as another column, which leaves that the fifth column here will be the name of the image file. So the command we'll be working with is ptpcam-L, which will list all the files. Currently, there's no files on the camera. If I were to take a single picture, then it will store one picture on the camera so we have a little bit of data. It will list all the files. If I take another picture, it'll list 2 files. Notice the structure. This is column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, and column 5. The starting point for the video is after we've taken the picture and we've moved the picture from the camera to the Raspberry Pi and then deleted the picture on the camera. So right now the picture will only exist on the Raspberry Pi. You should watch the previous video if you haven't to get information on how to set up to this point. But let's run the script. So it prints out information on the particular camera, disables the top bottom correction. It'll take one picture, it'll download the picture over the USB cable to the Raspberry Pi, and then the Raspberry Pi will delete the picture from the Z1. I've already set up a server on the internet with SSH secure copy, so I can use the secure copy without putting the password in. This is just a comment. So the data is on the fifth column, the piece of data that we want. So that $5 is the fifth column. Just going to echo the file name just to make sure that the parsing worked. I'm not super great with bash and awk, so just trying to make sure it works here. So it took the picture. Yeah, looks like it's the right file name. So line 35 right here, it is a ptpcam specific command, and this will get the file from the Z1 onto the Raspberry Pi. So I didn't set it yet. This is just printing it out. So the file that it got is 920 here. It didn't set the permission yet. So if you four is read. And just push it up to the cloud server. And I have my server that I already set up. It's at this IP address. And this is the directory that I have my files in. Let's run the server again, or run the script again. So we started the process of moving this, I think it's like a 5 megabyte file, up to the hosted server that's on the internet. Okay, the upload was completed, and it says to go to this. So it's in the subdirectory robot, and we need to go to this this URL here. So let's do that right now. So if you put a web browser here, there's just this one image file right now. If you click at, it'll be in equirectangular mode because we haven't set up A-frame or anything. Let's take another picture. This would be in a loop normally. So it takes the picture, and this would be 9.2. The upload was completed here. You can go to this URL. Okay, it's right here. It's 922 and 922. Then when you want to save the file, oh, it's big. You can save it here. If you show it in the folder, you can now use the Ricoh Theta application itself to check out the file in a 360 view. So the Raspberry Pi doesn't have the case lid on it. The camera is right here. Be quite good for surveillance or some type of time-lapse photography. Thanks for joining us on this journey with the wonderful USB API for the Ricoh Theta Z1. We covered using ptpcam-L to list all the files. Once you have all the files listed, you can extract the last row, and focusing in on the last row, get the last column, which would be the file name. In this example, we used awk, and printing out the 5th column here will grab you the file name. Once we have the file and the file name, we use chmod to change the permissions of the image file to make it readable by the world. We needed to do this in order to have the web server read it and serve it up correctly. After we changed the permissions on the image file, we used scopy to copy that image, not move it, just copy it from the Raspberry Pi out to this hosted cloud server, which I had pre-configured to accept an scopy from my specific Raspberry Pi. If you don't have it pre-configured, you're going to need to do a search or watch another video of mine on how to get the keys working, secure copy keys. It's not that difficult. It's just one line that you'll need to do. This will be the 8th video on the USB API on our playlist. Success you subscribe to the channel, and you'll get notifications of new tutorials as they come out. Have a great day.